Alright, hey, hi, hello, how's it going guys? My name is ZetaRayZod and welcome back to more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, before I begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on to stay up to date on all my latest videos. So, we're back again in the defendant's antechamber, only this time with a new client and a whole new case. So, in the previous episode, we kind of just finished solving the second and third deduction of Sherlock Holmes' deduction. I'm not sure if what we found out at the landlord's place is related to the case or not. If it is, I guess we'll find out later. But if it's not, then whatever. I guess it was just a little segue for us to deal with. On the way out back to the prison to kind of accept representation of Natsume-san, we kind of bumped into another of his, I would say housemate. He kind of looks a bit like someone you'd expect in a play, and he was arguing with someone that looks kind of like Popeye, dressed in yellowish. Yellow? Was it yellow? I can't remember. Yellow. I think it was yellow. Yellowish. But yeah, we don't know much about him. We don't even know his name, in fact. Is he even in the court records? He's not even in the court records yet. I have a feeling he might be an important person in the case, along with the guy that was arguing with him. But we'll see what happens. So, let's continue. Well, I never expected this. Who would have thought we'd be back here again so soon?
We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's true, but for the person in that dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court. And it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass?
Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Okay, I'm assuming this is Natsume-san. Yep. Oh, his eyes look a little bit red. I don't know, has it always been like that? Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
Ah, okay, I was wrong. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yeah, I heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried to ask Billy not to wake up early. I was so worried I could catch a wink. Now, I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally?
Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. He's trembling, alright. Really, because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, look who's student Mr. Naruto is quiet. Yes. Caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Is it because he's Japanese? Do you know what that might be, Mrs. Zato?
Sorry, Ms. Naruto, but I have no idea.
This all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Mrs. Sato?
I purchased as many different newspapers as I could to find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one.
I knew it!
Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper in the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday.
Yeah, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? Trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. Trial of Magnus McGilded. Ah, what a harrowing experience that was. Interesting. I guess we'll find out why he came back.
I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital in today's.
But he wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country.
Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking. They're all speculating various answers.
Mundane? Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us. I feel like that newspaper is kind of like blowing it out of proportion. It wasn't murder. She's not dead. It's just attempted murder. In fact, we could probably chalk it down to assault. Okay, look, but he's not guilty.
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity of the trial 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Look, it's Ms. Naruhodo Esquire. Is it me? It's me. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. Oh, dang. Well, you're here to see me? It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruto, of your uncommonly bad luck.
Thanks for that. He does have quite bad luck. Very reminiscent of an MC in an anime. This is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man of such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive! Damn, you wanted my help. Come on. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. That's true. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London, with little in the way of experience or skills. Or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Miss Natsume. Benevolent locum student, Miss Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Miss Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Even if you hang, I guess we'll still believe you. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquire. I'm in your debt forever. I should never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counselor for the defense. The court session's about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Boy, oh boy, here we go again. I wonder if the same jury. The judge is always going to be the same, I feel. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes! Damn, I still haven't looked up if Natsume Soseki is actually like, really like this in real life. This is it. My second appearance in a British court. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I will let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. Ready for this fight. I mean, the previous case was pretty sus though. And we won, and that's all that matters, right? Oh, it's different PPs. Oh, wait a minute! I saw a familiar face in the jury. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. I saw what's his name. I can't remember the guy. It's one of the witnesses from the previous case. Previous case 3, which is the banker. I can't remember his name. Prosecution's fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. Hey, Nipponese are truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. And you are a student who arrived in London 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Sato-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
There he goes with his chalice again. Throw it in the fire, will you? Very true, and a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Appears to be acquitted of the unfortunate, violent end. The guy on the left, you see him? What's his name? I can't remember his name. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? There he is. That bastard again. You never. Oh, Mr. Fairplay. That's his name.
never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow.
Oh, hey. This should not happen. I'm saying this because technically she has a connection to Natsume-san, so there's a possibility that she's gonna be biased. So she's not supposed to be on the jury. Technically, she's on my side. Technically, I'm afraid to say I think it's quite possible that Mustache Foreigner did the deed. Damn, lady. Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Eh? Sorry? Didn't quite catch that.
Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act. Plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who's doing nothing but walking down the street.
A knife crime. I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are. Just look at the sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Oh my god. Come on, let's get this over with. Me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Huh? Sorry? Didn't quite catch that. I just want to point out that there are hints of racism in the game. And I think I saw a video on YouTube that says kind of something like I can't remember the title specifically, but it's kind of on the lines of saying it's not racist. And I'm not sure who made the video, to be honest. I only saw it as I was passing by, but honestly, in my opinion, it kind of feels like there are some racist undertones in it. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm definitely sure that the developers probably put it in as like I don't know, maybe as a display of maybe like, you know, how people back in the days would view other countries. I don't know, but there are definitely racist undertones. I'm not sure why people say that it's not racist. It's definitely racist. But I'm sure the developers put it in for a good reason. So yeah. Pray forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. He's always like, do it first and then apologize later. Why don't you just don't do it? Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Oh, is it Gregson?
Put your chips away, man. You're in court.
Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir.
Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be. Yes, having been stabbed in the back by an attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What? So you don't even know who she is for sure? Did she call her Olive Green because she's wearing olive? She's wearing green, is that why?
Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger.
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray elaborate on the details, Inspector.
Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. Now, it had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back.
You're the witness? You saw this happen?
Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file of everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please. Case file has been entered to the court record. What of the weapon that was... Oh, hold on. Look at the autopsy. She's not dead, but... Young woman rendered unconscious following stab wound to the back. Stout build, early 20s, paper the Briar Road, Rory beat. Victor remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from personal effects. Other details are unknown, apart from a single stabbing from the large knife. No other signs of injury were observed. Assailant was seen running away by a reported officer. This guy, Rolly Beat. Successfully arrested the following day. Okay, right. Gregson did mention that the witness who saw it was a police officer, which gives them more credibility. So, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch. The big thing is switch knife. That big thing's starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even this ragged-looking Saseki-san, I suppose. A common old garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. I kind of feel like... I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, if you are a lawyer or you are more well-versed in the court of law. I think, like, evidence can't be submitted during the trial, right? Right? I don't know. I thought you have to submit it beforehand, you know, so you give, like, the opposing party a fair chance as well to view the evidence. I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Check that has been added to the court record. Okay. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume. From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, aren't we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from the visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Miss Anansume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim. Let him go. No motive. If theft and grievance has been ruled out as a motive, what reason could Miss Anansume possibly have had for stabbing a young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of it, and in totally unjustified and heavy-handed way. Wow. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. Just smash it into a child. Ah! But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who's being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest a Nipponese student. So. Here we go. Put your chips away, sir. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed in the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way back home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and he found the bloke to arrest him. Light fog. A lot of other people said that it wasn't a light fog, actually. Old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. Just like wondering, like, how would you stab someone with a knife angle like that? I guess you could hold it like that, right? Stabbing it down like that, but then you would have gone like that. I don't think it's left-handed. Right? Yeah, I think holding it like this way up, is not a good angle for anybody. Unless you just like push it in like that. I don't know.
Honestly, left-handed. If you're left-handed, you can push it in like that, I guess, but kind of seems more likely to stab it in.
I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
Grabs the photograph. Just after the incident, large dog can be seen thrust into the victim's back. Okay. Unipenese are a spineless breed. Wow. Too cowardly to admit defeat. This isn't racist? Come on. Unipenese are spineless breed. Wow. Spineless breed. Like Japanese are different species. This is bullshit. I'm sorry, I don't like racism. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. I always feel like his evidence is always a witness. You know, other than that, there's no motive. You don't have fingerprint evidence. I mean, I think back in the day they didn't have fingerprint evidence, but other than that, you only have a witness that could tie Natsume to the scene of the crime. Other than that, you have no proof. Except the books on the floor. Wow, coincidence.
Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it.
What are you doing, Mrs. Sato?
Do go on. Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruto?
Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. As I was walking along the cursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, just as I went to overtake her. She suddenly let out a little scream, collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from them. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my cursed lodgings. A green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Oh my, photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of the terrifying incident. That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn tables here. It's our only chance. Here we go.
Cross-examine everything.
Said it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Unusually light fog. Interesting. A light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You can see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though. That's light, is it? Around these pods, yeah. That's something I expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for its fogs, but in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint. Yeah, well, it's not something as Londoners tend to romanticize. I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of the arm. Well, it's thick. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling. Ugh, Sato-san and I should definitely remember to stop. Look and listen. Look left, look right, and look left again. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Okay. Interesting. Visibility was really good, there was no one else about but the okay. Oh, that's not true, the police guy was around, right? How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us. Yes. Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he?
That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
Where was he standing? I want to know where he was standing. Alright, that's correct, ma'am. Oh no. Then you must hear their testimony. The prosecution will of course call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already.
No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated at night by gas streetlights. Ah. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Okay, look, believes is just speculation. God. Quite. Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. With gaslighting. Congratulations. Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. If we could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue your testimony, Inspector. Our bull victim was stabbed from behind, subsequently collapsed on the pavement. Unless she was already stabbed, and then, like, why did she just scream before? From behind, you say? That's right. As you can see from this print. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. As you say, this poor woman, Miss Creed, remains in a critical condition, comatose no less. I'm afraid so, my lord. Yeah, she's been treated bad. I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events. How convenient. Luck is on your client's side, it seems. Or maybe not. Maybe she could have explained it. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. That's not something you should share, bro. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. Accused for an scattering belongings all over the floor. Mr. Natsume's belongings, I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene. 3 books. Yes, there are 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full of his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape you might have had before you even knew it was there. I'm just wondering, like, why would he wait for her? I mean, if you think about it, he was at a bookstore, he came out, he was walking home. Like, why would he, if he was waiting to stab this lady, be in a bookstore buying books? You know, there's no guarantee that she's gonna pass by at that specific time, right? I don't know. I don't think Naruhodo's gonna say all any of these things anyway. You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings and he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord. Yes. Must be what happened. Speculation. Those being a number of old books he just bought, he was on his way home from bookshop. Let's see. The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yeah, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked full of the ceiling of those nasty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, or if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Alright. Bourbon Books. Closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is in this place here, Bourbon's Books. Little place on the corner of Briar Road and Mearsham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road, at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. I see a problem right there already. Something like this. I think I see a problem right there, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of crime on his way home from that particular shop. Mr. Naruhodo, I think doubt that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance.
Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe? Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes, it could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
So, my lord, whatever you say. Whatever you say. Can it not be any more sardonic?
Yes, sir, my lord.
He bows and everything. It's on his way home from Bourbon Bookshops. Okay, present. Because, if we look at here, this is the receipt that we found in Natsume's room, which shows the date and the time that he was at the bookstore, but he was at your books and not Bourbon Books. So, present. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 secondhand books. And you found that in the accused room, did you? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your books? Y-O-R-E, I presume.
Yes, my lord. So, Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, that bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. Huh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think that the accused would have known about it. But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it. Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchases busted tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. I disagree. I mean, after all,
The street map here, that might be of help.
oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. Do you even know what your books are? The defendant has been returning from Bourbon Books. Sure. Would have, yeah, on the way home. Yes, he would have most certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. How about egg on his face for Naruto? Why Bourbon Books is right next to your books? However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, your books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said?
Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. It's next to your books. Throw it out the window.
Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment?
Well, obviously we looked into that. Where is it? It turns out that your books... Oh, it's just here on the next corner of the street going east. So it's also kind of a possibility that he could have gone... he could have taken, you know, like, where's my mouse? I'll show you my mouse. Yeah, he could have been here and he could have walked all the way back here. In which case he would follow the route, but if he went here and went down here instead, that's an entirely new road. And there you have it. As you can clearly see now. Oh. He could have taken a different route. Come on, man. Stick by your guns, dude. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus.
Put that glass down now, or put it down for you.
Oh boy, I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. You could have taken the other route. If the accused was coming home from your books instead of Bourbon Books. No doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. He could have gone the other way, Calabash Road.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Oh, Naruto, just told them, man. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. I just like to imagine like where he's standing, like right below there's just like a shelf full of like chalices and wine bottles. He's just taking them out like that. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Come on, dude. Just tell him he could have gone through Calabash Road. That's a possibility. As I suspected, you can't fool me. And I don't suggest you try. What do I say, eh? I've had enough of this now. Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. She's absolutely right. I think is considering the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. It claims Saseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but raise an objection. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. Yeah, Calabash Road, baby. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back to his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked. Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that he witnessed that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is Natsume was only there for a week. He couldn't have, maybe he wouldn't know which one's the longer route. Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime. But, aha, yes, I've got it. Obviously, you must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I've already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. When you leave the bookstore, did you turn left or did you turn right? It's that simple. I don't believe this. Turn left, turn right. It's that simple. Come on, man. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time while wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... Hold it. Who? Oh. They're all gonna vote Angie, aren't they? I agree with Lord Van Zeeks. Wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean members of the jury? I'm completely convinced now. Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Yuzai!
Yuzai.
Yuzai!
Oh boy.
Yuzai!
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 Could they plan that? What if they're like one of them actually goes first? It would appear the jury's learning is unanimous. Well, invoke the law again. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably.
It's Naruhodo.
No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of a quarry not yet willing to give up and die. So, I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of the defense written in antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, antiquated. But it's the defense prerogative to carry out the submission examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the submission examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with the Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncle's refusal to throw in his alley. Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Again, I'm just going to point out that Mr. Fairplay would not be a jury member because he was in a previous trial, so it's suspicious. Just pointing that out. But okay, I think we'll leave this episode here. I mean, I expect it. It's always the case, isn't it? This is just one big anime, you know? Bad things happen, and then the good guy tries and fights back, and eventually he wins. So there's already a formula that's going on, so I'm not surprised that they admitted guilt. That, you know, they kind of like voted guilty so quick. But at the same time, I just want to point out that this probably wouldn't happen in real life. There's no motive to attack the lady. I mean, back in the day, you have an eyewitness. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out more. Right now, I don't have a clear picture of what's going on. Like, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, if she was there, if Mr. Natsume-san said there was only 2 of them there, there's a possibility that she stabbed before, but then why didn't she scream out, you know, like before that or after that or whatever, right? So, I don't know. But we'll find out more. So yeah, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on so you stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, be safe, take care, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace!